Ho, 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 come in close, my wonderful friends. Pull your blankets up, wiggle your toes, and make a little room for one more story by the fire. Tonight's tale is about courage. Not the roaring kind, not the look at me kind, not the quiet kind. This kind starts as a tiny flutter in your chest and grows into something strong enough to carry you farther than you've ever thought possible. This is the story of the kangaroo who took his first leap. I'm sitting on the beach. Yes, enjoying the wonderful sunshine. So here we go, far away underneath the great wide sky. Painted gold in the morning and pink in the evening, there stretched a beautiful valley called Sun Hop Plain. The grass rippled in the breeze like soft green waves. Gum trees leaned this way and that, as if whispering to one another. Bright birds zipped overhead, singing like they had a very important gossip to share. And in the valley lived a young kangaroo named Kip. Kip had soft brown fur, bright eyes, a twitchy little nose, and a kind of ears that stood straight up wherever he got nervous, which was quite often. Now Kip was kind, Kip was thoughtful, Kip was funny in a quiet sort of way. But there was one thing Kip had not yet managed to do. He had never taken a real leap. Oh, he bounced a little, tiny bounces, practice bounces. I meant to do that bounces, but the great springing kangaroo leap, the one all the young kangaroos in Sun Hop Plain seemed to do as naturally as blinking. Nope, not Kip. He hadn't done that yet. Every morning he watched the others boing, boing, boing across the valley, boinging over rocks, boinging through tall grass, boinging up little hills and down the other side with delighted laughter. And every morning Kip thought the same thing. Today might be the day. And right after that, he thought, or tomorrow would be safer. Kip lived with his mother near the edge of the plain, under the shade of a wide old gum tree. His mother was wise, calm, and very patient. She had a voice that made everything sound possible, even things that felt terribly hard. One bright morning she found Kip peeking out from the shade, watching the other kangaroos practice jumping. "You're thinking again," she said gently. Kip sighed. "I do that a lot." "Yes," said his mother, "you do." Kip looked at the others. "What if I try and I fail?" His mother sat beside him. "Then you get up. Not a big deal." "What if I don't go very far?" "Then you still go further than before." "What if everyone sees?" His mother smiled. "Then everybody sees someone being brave." Kip looked down at his feet. They seemed very ordinary feet to him. Not heroic feet, not adventurous feet, just feet, feet. His mother gave him a little nudge. Every kangaroo takes their first leap in their own time. Kip nodded, but inside he felt like a knot tied in the middle. Later that morning, his best friend Leela came bouncing over. Now Leela could leap. Oh, could she leap. Leela bounced like joy had springs in it. She loved trying new things. She loved racing shadows. She once challenged a gust of wind to a hopping contest and claimed victory because the wind had poor direction. "Kip," she called, "we're going to Whisper Hill." Kip blinked. "The big hill?" "The very one." Kip looked towards the distance where Whisper Hill rose gently against the sky. From here it looked peaceful. From close up it looked tall. "What are you going to be doing there?" he asked. Lily grinned. big leap practice. Kip swallowed. I think I'll stay here and do medium thinking. It could be. Leela laughed. That's not a sport. It could be, Kip said. I'll be excellent. Lily dropped beside him in the grass. Kip, you don't have to start to jump the furthest. You just have to start. Kip twitched one ear. You make it sound easy. It isn't easy, Lily said kindly. It's just worth it. That stayed with Kip all day. That afternoon, while he sat near the creek watching dragonflies skim the water, someone spoke to him. You have the face of someone trying to think his way around a feeling. Kip turned. It was Wobble, an old wombat with sturdy paws, a serious expression, and a remarkable ability to sound grumpy even when saying something nice. I'm not trying to think my way around it, Kip said. I'm just trying to think my way through it. Wobble nodded. Better. Kip sighed. Everyone else can leap. I can barely manage a hopful bounce. Wobble sat down with a little grunt. Do you know the first time I tried to climb over a log? You climb logs? I did. Once. Very dramatically. What happened? I rolled backwards into a bush. Kip's eyes widened. Really? Wobble looked offended. Do I seem like someone who would make up a bush? Kip couldn't help laughing. Wobble twitched his whiskers. Then I tried again, rolled again, tried again. Eventually I got over the log. So you just kept trying? No, said Wobble. First I complained, then I kept trying. Kip laughed even harder. Wobble looked at him sideways. The point, young hopper, is that nobody starts by being good. They start by beginning. Then he waddled off muttering, and logs are arrogant. That night Kip lay awake under the stars, listening to the soft night sounds of the plain. He thought about his mother, he thought about Lily, and he thought about Wobble versus the log. And in the quiet of the dark, he made a little promise to himself. Tomorrow I will try. The next morning dawned warm and clear. The sky glowed pale gold. Birds sang, grasshoppers clicked. Lily arrived earlier than usual, already practically bouncing with excitement. Well? She asked. Kip took a deep breath. I'm coming. Lily froze for half a second. Then she cheered so loudly a flock of birds lifted out of a nearby tree. You're coming? You're really coming? Yes, said Kip, before he could change his mind. But if I wobble, I'd like everybody to be polite about it. I can promise kindness, said Lily. I cannot promise silence. So off they went towards Whisper Hill. The path wound through waving grass, over flat warm stones, and past a cluster of low bushes where two wallabies were arguing about whether clouds looked more like pies or sheep. Definitely pies, said one. Sheep with confidence, said the other. Kip smiled a little, then helped. As they walked, Lily did not push him. She didn't say, you must do this, or don't be scared. She just stayed beside him, cluttering about ordinary things. The kookaburra near the water hole stole my breakfast berry. That bird has no respect. And yesterday, I landed in a patch of flowers on purpose. No, but I apologized to all of them. By the time they reached Whisper Hill, Kip's heart was still beating fast, but not in the same frightening way. Now it felt like he was carrying a drum inside him, one that was saying, maybe, maybe, maybe. At the top of the hill, several other young kangaroos were practicing. They turned when Kip and Lily arrived. Hey, Kip, glad you came. No pressure. The last part was pressure, muttered Kip. Lily snorted. One of the older Joeys, Marlowe, stepped over. Marlowe was not only a strong jumper, he was known for being encouraging without sounding mushy, which was very useful talent. Good to see you here, Marlowe said. You don't have to leap far today, just true. Blinked? What does that mean? It means don't leap like someone else. Leap like you. Now, that was an odd thing to say, but somehow it made sense. The young kangaroo took turns practicing. Some went high, some went long. One got distracted halfway through a leap by a butterfly and landed in a shrub. Worth it, he called from inside the leaves. Kip watched carefully. He noticed something important. Not everybody leaped perfectly. Some landed crooked, some stumbled, some laughed to themselves and tried again. One missed a mark painted in the dirt by so much he shouted, I was exploring new possibilities. No one teased him, no one groaned, and no one rolled their eyes. They just gave him room, then cheered, then he tried again. Kip's shoulders loosened a little. Lily nudged him. See? Kip nodded slowly. Everybody looks normal. That's because they are. But I thought they all felt sure. Lily grinned. Oh no, half the time I'm guessing and hopping. You? Absolutely. You always look fearless. Lily lowered her voice. That's because I bounce before my worries catch me. Kip laughed. At least it was his turn. At last it was his turn. The hill suddenly seemed much bigger. The ground seemed farther away. His feet felt too small. His tail, well, it was awkward. His ears too earish. Marlowe stepped beside him. Look at the place you want to land, not the place you're afraid of. Kip swallowed and nodded. His mother's words floated back to him. Every kangaroo takes their first leap in their own time. Wobbles too. Nobody starts by being good, they start by beginning. And lilies? It's worth it. Kip took one step forward, then another, then he bent his legs slowly. The wind moved through the grass. Everything went cool, very quiet. Kip thought, if I wobble, I wobble. If I land badly, I land badly. But today I begin. He pushed off, and one glorious, surprising moment, Kip left the earth. He was in the air, really in the air. The world opened up beneath him. The hill, the grass, the sky, the shining valley all spread wide and bright. Then he landed, not elegantly, not perfectly. He landed with a bounce and a stumble and a little sideways scoot that ended in a surprising blink. But he landed on his feet. The hill erupted. Lily cheered. Marlowe thumped the ground. The others shouted, Kip did it. Kip stood there breathing hard. I did it, he whispered. Then louder, I did it. Lily bounced over and nearly knocked him sideways with excitement. You did. Kip laughed, a big, relieved, joyful laugh that seemed to shake the fear right out of him. Again, said Marlowe. Kip looked at him. Again? Marlowe nodded. Now you know you can. Kip turned back towards the hilltop. His knees still trembled, but now the trembling felt less like fear and more like energy. So he climbed back up and he leaped again. This time he went a little further. The landing was still wobbly, but better. Again, a little smoother. Again, a little stronger. Soon Kip was lapping between jumps, and once, after a especially bouncy landing, he answered, that one was fully intentional, even though everybody had clearly seen him spin half a circle. The others laughed with him, not at him. By the time the sun began to slide low in the sky, painting the valley with honey-colored light, Kip sat at the hilltop beside Lily, breathless and happy. "How do you feel?" she asked. Kip looked over. Sun Hop Plain, all glowing and endless and lovely. "Like I found something," he said. "What?" He thought for a moment, not jumping. He found the part of me that was hiding beneath all the worrying. Lily smiled. "I like that part of you." Kip smiled back. As they headed home, Kip noticed something else too. The hill hadn't changed. The jump hadn't become smaller. What had changed was him. He still felt nervous. He still felt careful. But now those feelings were standing beside something bigger. Belief. Then he reached the old gum tree. Kip's mother was waiting. "Well?" she asked him gently. Kip tried to say it calmly, but the joy came bubbling out too fast. "I leaped." His mother's face lit up. "You did?" I wobbled. "That's allowed. I almost spun. Very stylish. I might have looked silly." She smiled. "And?" Kip grinned. "And I did it anyway." His mother drew him into a big warm hug. That's courage. That night under the stars, Kip lay awake again, but this time not because he was worried. He was replaying the leap, the push, the air, the landing, the cheering, the feeling of finding out he could do something that fear had tried very hard to hide from him. And before he drifted off to sleep, he made another promise to himself. "Tomorrow, I leap again." And he did. Not because he was suddenly fearless, but because now he knew something important. The first leap is not about being perfect. It's about beginning. Ho, ho, ho! And that, my friends, is how Kip the kangaroo took the first leap. Here's the moral of the story. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. It means you choose to begin even when fear is sitting beside you. Kip learned that the first leap does not have to be the biggest or the best. It simply has to be his. When we stop waiting to feel perfectly ready and bravely take one honest step forward, we often discover that confidence was growing inside of us all along. Wasn't that amazing, boys and girls, mums and dads? What a true story about being brave. And you can be brave too. Thank you for listening. Santa Papa John will be back tomorrow with another incredible story. Have a wonderful night. Ho, ho, ho.